On Christmas Eve, the governor declares a state of emergency in Southern California as a powerful winter storm brings heavy rain, flooding, and mudslides. Also tonight, the weather challenges facing travelers trying to get to their holiday destinations.
We're working with local, state, and federal authorities.
The search for the cause of that deadly explosion at a Pennsylvania nursing home. Eye on America. Flamingos came close to extinction in Florida. Tonight, the story behind their amazing comeback.
From CBS News headquarters in New York, this is the CBS Evening News.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Major Garrett. Heavy rain and snow, powerful winds, mudslides, and flooding. They were not on anybody's Christmas wish list, certainly not those traveling for the holiday, but that is what Californians are facing. In fact, officials are urging them to reconsider traveling. In some parts of the area, it could be dangerous. We have reports tonight on the storms, the travel challenges, and the latest forecast for the holiday. First, Andres Gutierrez in Southern California, where the governor today declared a state of emergency. Andres?
Good evening, Major. There is a break in the rain, but across Southern California, it's been coming down an inch an hour. These are the so-called K-rails that the county installed as a preventative measure to keep mud and debris from flowing into homes. And just before dawn today, they were put to the test. The hills of Altadena, scorched this year by wildfire, are now sliding. Despite mud flows and calls to evacuate, Brenda Kimpton is riding out the storm.
The mud debris came down and it's breached the K-rails.
Her home survived the Eaton fire. She's growing nervous about the flood.
Is this storm as they advertised?
Yes, it's a whopper.
When the rain moved into Southern California, it just kept falling, steady and intense. At its peak,
I have never seen a flash flood warning this widespread, all happening at the same time.
CBS News Los Angeles meteorologist Paul Diano.
So much of Southern California, landslides and mudslides are imminent right now.
Some of the worst damage unfolded throughout the day in the mountain community of Wrightwood. Population 5,000. Numerous homes were flooded. Roads became impassable. Elsewhere in Southern California, powerful winds blew down trees. Streets were washed away. This storm channel, normally dry, became a torrent with 1 million gallons a minute flowing through. Of the numerous Christmas Eve crashes, none tell the story of the impact today quite like this mangled FedEx truck filled with packages. But it's the human toll and resilience that weighs the most on Brenda Kimpton's mind.
It's a wonderful community. It's special. I think a lot of people feel that way about their communities, but this is like a hidden gem.
You started the year with these wildfires. You're capping the year with this atmospheric river. What do you make of that?
It's been a hell of a year.
And this afternoon, California Governor Gavin Newsom announced a state of emergency in 6 counties, allowing crews to pre-position rescue teams and equipment if needed, Major.
Andres Gutierrez, thank you so much. Now, meteorologist Andrew Kozak of CBS News Philadelphia. He has the forecast for the hours and the days ahead. Andrew?
Major, it's like California's a sponge that you're running a faucet on. It just can't handle that water, and we're seeing more of that as we head into the day tomorrow. In fact, Christmas Day is going to bring us that atmospheric river that continues to send waves of moisture system after system. And it's not just the wind and the rain together, it's the severe weather potential. We even had wind gusts in Los Angeles County today over 75 miles per hour, even a tornado warning with no confirmed tornado. This will continue. And by the way, if you have any flights coming up with the busy travel couple of days that we have, we likely are going to see major delays for places like Los Angeles and San Francisco, the major hubs there. Over 41 million people across California, portions of Arizona and Nevada under a flood watch tonight, and that continues all the way through the end of the week. We have excessive rain that will continue. The colors get a little lighter, which is better news as we head toward the end of the week. And by the way, we are talking about Christmas tomorrow. Many areas across the midsection of the country, 20 to 30 degrees above average. Warm for a lot of folks tomorrow.
Very warm indeed. Andrew Kozak, great to have you with us. Some holiday travelers tried to beat the bad weather. Here is senior transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve.
The Christmas Eve drive was anything but a holiday gift for many across Southern California. Heavy rain in Sun Valley turned roads into rivers.
We thought we were going to get a detour through here, and we ended up getting stuck.
At LAX, the last-minute dash to make it home before Christmas had flyers lining up very early, hoping the storm didn't keep them grounded.
I was expecting it to be a little bit busier. They've been saying it's going to be like floodpocalypse, so it's nice that it's not too wet.
Winter weather in the Northeast and the massive storm in the West have led to more than 16,000 flight delays since Monday. Fortunately, cancellations have remained low as AAA expects more than $122 million to travel for the end-of-the-year holidays. Yak Chen Lin is hoping this little elf can bring some good flying luck as he takes 17-month-old Daniel to spend Christmas with his grandparents in Taiwan.
What goes into keeping your sanity when traveling with a little one for that long?
I guess it's just, preparation, plenty of preparation.
In Denver, United Airlines pilot Bo Brandt spent his layover on the piano, hoping to keep travelers feeling festive. And in Spokane, Washington, Christmas came early for 43 kids in need.
And me and Marcus will be taking you to North Pole.
Alaska Airlines took them on a very special 40-minute fantasy flight.
Participating in something like this gives them an opportunity to be children for an afternoon and have no worries and cares.
Touching down in Santa's hometown, or at least a hangar dressed up like the North Pole, for an evening of Christmas gifts and holiday cheer.
Now, the busiest stretch of this holiday travel season is yet to come. It is the weekend that bridges Christmas and New Year's with Sunday, potentially the busiest day of the entire period. And there is the potential for severe weather interfering with that. Merry Christmas, Major.
Merry Christmas, Chris Van Cleve coming to us from Phoenix. Now an update on last night's top story, the deadly gas explosion at a nursing home in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, near Philadelphia. At least 2 people were killed, 20 others were taken to hospitals. Lilia Luciano was on the scene with more on the victims and the stage of the investigation.
Investigators are on the scene where a gas leak is believed to have sparked 2 explosions and a fire at the Silver Lake Nursing Home in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, outside of Philadelphia.
This building literally just exploded right in front of my eyes.
Fire crews braved flames and smoke to rescue dozens of elderly residents trapped inside.
I've never seen such heroism. They were running into a building that I could, from 50 feet away, can still smell gas, and they were still going in the building to recover people.
Many of the around 120 people living there were vulnerable and unable to save themselves.
They couldn't walk. They were in wheelchairs. Some people couldn't talk. This could have been a much more serious catastrophe.
20 people were rushed to hospitals. 1 patient, authorities said, is in critical condition, and at least 1 has been released. But the explosion killed 2 women, an elderly resident whose name has not been released, and 52-year-old nurse Mudoni Ndutu, a mother and grandmother who immigrated from Kenya 20 years ago.
It's been so shocking.
Her family and friends will now spend Christmas planning her funeral.
She was a great mother, of course a great wife. She was part of us, and we'll miss her.
When the explosion happened, crews from the state's gas company were at the scene investigating a smell of gas. A fire safety and emergency preparedness inspection issued by Medicare in 2024 gave the nursing home a, quote, much below average rating. Another report issued by the state of Pennsylvania last October determined that the facility failed to maintain a clean, safe, comfortable, and home-like condition on both nursing floors.
Now, new owners took over this nursing home less than a month ago. They said in a statement today that they will continue working to fix prior issues. And the NTSB has asked witnesses to share any videos or information that could be relevant to their federal investigation. Major.
With crucial details and context, Lilia Luciano, thank you very much. Turning overseas to the little town of Bethlehem, about 6 miles south of Jerusalem in the West Bank. After 2 years of war in Gaza, Christmas celebrations are slowly returning to the place where Christians believe Jesus was born, with hopes for a brighter future and possibly lasting peace. MTS Tayeb takes us there.
A moment of joy and wonder. Right where the Christmas story began. Thousands traveled from nearby towns and villages to attend Bethlehem's annual tree lighting ceremony in Major Square. The first such celebration since 2023, but hardly any foreign visitors. For more than 2 years, international tourists and Christian pilgrims have largely stayed away from the Holy Land following Hamas's deadly October 7th attacks. As war in Gaza raged on, church leaders canceled Christmas celebrations. But for Bethlehem's mayor, Maher Kanawati, a fragile Trump administration brokered ceasefire was reason enough to bring the faithful back and face to face once more with the Nativity.
We're here in Manger Square. Describe the scene to us.
Yes, well, you know, this is the scene that should have never left.
Inside the 4th century Church of the Nativity, one of the world's oldest and most sacred Christian sites, where in peacetime around 15,000 visitors would arrive every single day.
It's here, at this very spot, where Christians believe Jesus was born. Normally this would be packed full of tourists, and now there's next to no one.
The absence of tourists has devastated Bethlehem's tourism industry, crippling the city's entire economy, pushing hotel vacancies to record highs and driving unemployment to 80%.
The line or the visitors who are coming to visit this church.
In Manger Square, we met Matthew Cassis, who's been a tour guide his entire adult life and says he's never seen it this quiet.
What is your message to Christians around the world?
Come back, because Bethlehem, it's belong for each one. And Bethlehem, it is message of the love and the peace.
A message needed now more than ever. Imtiaz Taib, CBS News, Bethlehem.
Still ahead on the CBS Evening News, Christmas Eve Grinch is caught on camera trying to steal a cash machine. Did they get away with it? Plus, Eye on America.
I'm Mark Strassman at Zoo Miami. Flamingos are a Florida icon that you could only see in a zoo like this until recently. That story coming up on tonight's Eye on America.
The Justice Department said today it has uncovered more than 1 million additional documents potentially connected to the Jeffrey Epstein sex abuse case. Officials said it could take 3 weeks or more to review these newly discovered materials. One goal of that review, the Justice Department said, protect the privacy of survivors. Congressional Democrats are demanding the release of all Epstein files in the coming days. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has laid out some of the concessions he would be willing to make on the Donbass in eastern Ukraine. Control of that region is a sticking point in peace negotiations with Russia. Details now from Remy Inocencio in London.
Good evening. Yes, Zelensky's biggest compromise is his apparent readiness to pull back Ukraine's military from areas in the Donbass, that's in the east, that are still under Kyiv's control, but not hand them to Russia and instead turn them into a demilitarized or special economic zone. He also said that if Ukraine pulled back by a certain distance, then Russia would have to match them and that it would be Ukraine that would police this zone. This new draft also calls for a freezing of the front lines, security guarantees for Ukraine, along the lines of NATO's Article 5 about collective self-defense, and a military strength of 800,000 troops, which is 200,000 more than what Russia wanted. Zelensky says a referendum would need to be held for this entire proposal in whatever form it eventually takes, Major. It's now for the Kremlin to weigh in.
At the Vatican, Leo XIV celebrated his first Christmas Eve midnight mass since becoming Pope in May, that following the death of Pope Francis. Leo has called for 24 hours of peace around the world. Police in Dallas, in the Dallas area, are searching for the thieves who tried to steal an ATM overnight using a stolen SUV. Surveillance video shows one bandit hooking the ATM to a cable attached to the vehicle outside. The thief at the wheel hits the gas and the ATM comes crashing through the wall. The thieves didn't get far, though. The stolen SUV and cash machine were found a short distance away. It was 70 years ago today that the Christmas tradition of tracking Santa's sleigh was born. On Christmas Eve, 1955, the Continental Air Defense Command, which later became NORAD, received phone calls from children who'd seen a phone number for Santa misprinted in a newspaper ad. That typo led the military to begin tracking Santa and informing children around the world of his whereabouts on Christmas Eve. And there was a Santa sighting near Toledo, Ohio. The Fulton County Sheriff's Office says Santa and Mrs. Claus were pulled over for going a little too fast while delivering presents. Mr. Claus received neither a ticket nor a lump of coal, just a friendly reminder to follow the speed limit. Up next, birds of a feather flocking to the Everglades. There is perhaps no greater symbol of Florida than the flamingo. In fact, right now, legislators are considering making it the state bird. Plastic flamingos, very familiar on Florida lawns. And now, there are more of the real thing in the state thanks to changes in the environment. Mark Strassman has tonight's Eye on America.
Zoo Miami and its American flamingo seem well matched. Flamboyant birds in a flamboyant city.
Breakfast, come get it.
In their exhibit, we met up with Frank Ridgely, the zoo's conservation director.
It's this icon of the state and an emblem that is an unofficial emblem.
And yet, most people have never seen one outside of a zoo.
They've been really hard to find.
Virtually impossible to spot for more than a century until recently. In late 19th century Florida, hunters after their meat and feathers pushed them into functional extinction. But something changed over the last 25 years when hurricanes in the Caribbean chased them into the Everglades. Guide Pete Corradino has seen them feeding near tangles of mangroves here in Everglades National Park. We didn't see any, but sightings are still rare. These birds look like flamingos. They're actually spoonbills.
For the first time in forever, there is a chance you can see a flamingo.
Just this past July of 2025, we had a flock that was spotted by helicopter out here in the middle of Everglades National Park. They are out here somewhere.
And now there's at least the possibility that they're staying.
Which is exciting and hopeful.
What changed? Florida's multi-decade, multi-billion-dollar restoration of the Everglades. It flushed fresh water into new habitats, and Ridgely says the flamingos approved.
This would be the literal feather in the cap of that achievement to be able to get flamingos to start nesting again. They're feeding and they're realizing that this habitat is also really good.
The flamingo's comeback story here seems to have legs, long ones. For Eye on America, I'm Mark Strassman in Miami.
That is the CBS Evening News this Christmas Eve. I'm Major Garrett. Thanks for being with us. Have a good night and a very Merry Christmas.